Check it, you out and about in the streets and in cyberspace with Marcus G and Coach with the Play. We're gonna catch up one a little bit later, but today we're gonna talk about perspective. Because the way we see the world changes everything that we do. It dictates how we feel and view the world around us. And when you don't travel and see what other civilizations have to offer, and our interactions and our experiences dictates everything that we do, the things that we know, the people that we see in our life. Perception can be one of those things that is very dangerous if we don't really have a true understanding. Many people live in a bubble. We get caught in silos. So especially as an entrepreneur and we're working within our business, if we do not explore the pestles of life, we will get caught up in situations that we do not know that's happening around us. A lot of people see things half full and some people see things half empty. Depends on all your perspective in life, because over time things have changed and the realities that we know we thought were true were different. As you can see, the Walters Art Museum. Perception shapes our reality. This concept is often illustrated by the metaphors of living in a bubble where individuals are influenced by their own perspective, experience, and the information they encounter. And as people traveled around the world, they got to see that different civilizations had different advancements in technology. So if you don't explore what the world has to offer, you really won't know what you're capable of until you actually change your perspective in life. So that's why I travel around the world, and that's why this podcast is very important, because it's about gaining different perspectives and diversity, because not everybody leaves their own neighborhood. Some people are in a cycle because the way they perceive the world is how they are. And being an entrepreneur, I perceive the world differently than somebody that's an employee. Have you ever thought about sometimes your life feels like it's moving fast, other times it feels like it's moving slow, yet time is constant. So how can that be? When you're having fun, it seems like time flies. When you're doing a daunting task, it seems like time's staying still and you can't wait to get back out and explore and live your life. Artists who can paint the same thing and it not comes out being the same way. People have a different perspective. And if you're not willing to gain a new perspective or a broad perspective and you live inside of a bubble, you will not reach your full potential because you will not know what life really has to offer. And the fact that we live in a digital age where information is so vast, we can get lost and not know what is true and what is not, does make a difference in the ways that we live our life, because everybody has something to bring to the table if you're willing to explore the possibilities and talk to people about the things that they have going on. I know a lot because I'm willing to experience and venture out into the world and see everything that it has, especially as we start traveling to different states and different countries. As out and about keeps growing, our world is what we make it. And some people make their world so small and so tight, and they live and they don't realize that they have the power to change and do things that some people think are impossible just because they never seen anybody in their community or neighborhood done it. But if you travel around the world, you'll find out things are very much possible. Things are very different. If you have the chance, get your passport, go see, find out what life really has to offer you. And especially if you have a team of people, it's great to do team building exercises. You get them to experience a new way of doing things. And those are times of teachable moments that not everybody gets. And I had one person tell me that, oh, they don't have enough time. They're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. When in all actuality, if they focus their mind and their capabilities, they will be able to achieve what they have. It's not up to me to get them to really understand what's possible. I can only show them the way. And as time goes on, our actions speak, because now you can give them the experience that they're missing. So I've experienced a lot, and I meet different people on different paths, and they see different things, and they perceive what the world is at that moment and don't realize the wealth of knowledge and experience that comes with it. So when I tell them that X, Y, and Z is possible, and then you actually show them and they say, oh, that's what you were talking about. Yes, exactly, that's what I was talking about. You just have to realize that people have different perspectives, and working with those, you got to understand where people are in their life. We all have the same 24 hours to do what needs to be done. So when you go to work as an employee, you're counting the hours of when you gotta be there, the tasks you gotta finish, when you gotta get off. What happens when you decide to quit? What happens if you get fired? Then your life changes And your whole perception of reality changes that quickly, just a snap of a moment, just because you decided that you wanted more or this job wasn't for you. You had something come up in your life. You had that aha moment. As an entrepreneur, you view the world differently that a lot of people don't see, because not everybody's an entrepreneur, not everybody's a business owner, not everybody's an inventor, not everybody's an explorer. Some people see things half full, others see them half empty. It just really depends on what you want in life and how you're gonna go after it and achieve it. Because if you don't, you never know what is possible. People live their lives inside social media, and you have algorithms dictating what we see and what we believe. And the problem with that is that if you do not hit the streets like I do with guerrilla marketing and see what the world has to say versus what I see, you'll find out that these algorithms are based on other people's perceptions. How they perceive these algorithms are written off of other people's perspectives, which may not be your perspective. So when you see things and they don't quite fit what you're into, it's because the algorithms aren't really made for you. They are made to help predict the possibilities. But as human beings, we are very unpredictable. We change like the wind, because our life changes. When you lose your job, now what? Now suddenly you've changed the things that you do. You no longer go out. And in business is the same thing, where things are good, where things are slow. And you really have to understand that everybody changes. So if you're not changing and you're not exploring everything that life has to offer, I don't know what to tell you. Because I want people who are willing to go out and explore, who are willing to be trailblazers. If we keep doing the same thing, if we're going to be stuck. And I always hear people talk about stereotypes and biasness because they don't really know, because they think that what they see on social media and the news is the way the world is. But when you explore the world and you go see different people, when you talk to them, you find out real experiences from real people and who are doing real things versus just what you see. And a lot of times people portray their best selves on social media, and they don't talk about their hardships. They don't talk about the grind that it takes to be an entrepreneur. They don't talk about how if you don't take the time and really explore life, that you'll miss out on everything. We have milestones that shape the things that we do. From the time that we were born, we're never the same person. We're always adjusting and adapting to what life throws our way, because these experiences are very important. A lot of people don't see it that way, and they judge a book by its cover. But when you judge a book by its cover and never open up the pages, you never know the wealth that's inside of it. If you want to hide information from somebody, put it in the book. So that's why I do video, because I write these articles. And I know everybody's not going to take the time to read, and I know everybody's not going to sit down and watch these videos that I create, but it's not about them. It's about the greater good. It's about making the world a better place, not for just me, but for future generations, because I'm building a business, I'm building a team to inspire and pick up where I left off, because I can't do it alone. And none of these civilizations were done alone. As you can see, all the different artwork, the different sculptures that these people have brought into play have changed life as we know it, as they know it. As you can see, we went through different floors and we explored periods of how people have changed in their art and conquests. And these are people's perspectives of life as they know it then, which is not what we know now. That's why it's important to study history and study patterns, especially when trading.
What up? What up? You a Coach TB Out and About podcast. What I want to do is relate perspective to the stock market, something that we all should take the time and learn about in order to create compound interest, generating wealth that can be passed down through the generations. Now, relating perspective to the stock market comes at a cost of knowing the stock market can have various different perspectives. Depending on economic conditions, market trends, and individual company performance, there are key factors that we need to consider when we going into our perspective regarding the stock market. And those key factors could be things like economic indicators, like the GDP growth, how much the country is making, unemployment rate, inflation rate. All these things can influence the market. So having a perspective will allow you to know which way to go in the market when you understand economic indicators can have an effect on the market. Interest rates can have an effect on the market as well. Changes in the interest rate can affect borrowing costs and it could affect consumer spending, impacting the stock price to move it one way or another. And market trends. You have to have a perspective about market trends. Which way the market is going? Is it going up? Is it trending down? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? The markets can indicate over overall investment sentiment, like where you want to go with your investments. In the sector performance, how is that general sector performing? Whatever stock that you going into or thinking about going into, that sector, how is it performing? Some sectors may perform better than others based on the current events and trends that's going on in the market. So you have to have a perspective about the sector's performance, and then overall events and global events that happens overall in the world, like wars and political instability, global pandemics like COVID, or trade agreements can impact the market performance, like the trade agreement that they had with China, and it affected the farmers. Therefore, there wasn't a prospectus on doing tax or a importing fee on top of anything that's being imported, and that will have an effect if you don't have the right prospectus, because just like China did, they put an import fee on the products going there, and it caused the farmers to lose money. So having an overall perspective in anything that you do in business and the likes, one thing you have to understand about the stock market is that people could try to create a perspective for you. They'll tell you, they'll say, hey, the market is going down. The whole time, if you're not paying attention to the indicators, the market could very well be going up. So they'll tell you the market is going down when the media, when the whole time the market is about to go up. So you have to have a perspective on what you're doing. You can't just listen to what other people say. You have to take time in anything that you're doing, analyze the situation, look at indicators, and look at trends, and look at performance, and then look at global events. And then you will get a better perspective of what you're about to go into when you look at the overall picture. What you need to do is tap in, keep watching the podcast, share the podcast, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions or any concerns or interested in learning more about Wall Street, the stock market, and how you can generate wealth that can be passed down to generations to come, get in contact with myself or MGL. We'll follow up and we'll help you understand how to create generational wealth.
And like Tony has said, different cultures do things different ways because of the way they perceived and came up in this world. If you're not willing to take those moments and really explore and look back on all the possibilities, you're going to miss out. I can only show you a path to where to go. We're exploring everything because the world is vast and great. I do not tend to be left behind because I will keep evolving. I will keep seeing. I will keep exploring, being the best version of me every day that I wake up, because I know the possibilities that life has to offer. If you don't see it, I'll try to put you into the best position that I can, because that's all I can do. And once I get you into that position, it's up to you to keep that position, because if you don't keep that position, there will be somebody who will come and they will take that position and run with it. Figure out what it is that you want in life. Go for it. Change your perspective. Change your mindset. Do not let the world change it for you, because you will be forced to change. Your perspective will change no matter what you think, because somebody will come into your life and give you that aha moment on how to improve, how to be better, how to explore life and make it the best that you can for yourself and others around you. That's what it's all about. Now we're dealing with artificial intelligence, and it's interesting to watch the younger kids being able to distinguish what is real, what is fake. So what you think is good today may not be good tomorrow, but if you don't have the experience, you can't tell the difference. And that's where being able to have critical thinking skills comes important, because if you cannot distinguish what is fact and what's not, If you're not willing to look outside of your bubble, you will not find the right information and you'll be plagued to make mistakes. That's why it's important to explore and fact check. What they say, trust everybody but verify, is a very good piece of wisdom and information taught to me by my elders, my mentors, that told me that if I'm not willing to explore and verify the information, then what am I really doing when it comes down to it? It's important to acknowledge our limitations of the things that we have, because once we acknowledge, we are able to grow from there. So acknowledging that we don't know everything and that we do have to explore and figure things out, to ask and say, this is what I believe, show me otherwise, or show me proof that I am wrong, will help and go a long way, because now you can see. But sometimes people are trapped in their bubbles and they're not willing to see because they've been taught for years that the world was like this. You have to change your perception. My experience will not be the same as your experience, and I can only tell you what I see and how I feel. It's really up to you to figure that out, because once you do, you're able to say, this is my life. This is what I want to happen. Out and about in the streets and in digital space. Catch you next time.